Why not change to Camels for the next 30 days and see what a difference it makes in your smoking enjoyment?
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're counting down our picks for the wrongest experts in the game.
The Model T was the game changer of the car world, and the way it was put together changed the game for the manufacturing world too.
Number 10. Communication satellites, silly sci-fi. Then came Sputnik and Telstar. Tunis Augustus McDonough Craven wasn't some cranky Luddite. He was a Navy communications officer turned chief engineer and then commissioner for the FCC. The man lived his life with a front row seat to the future of technology. He even saw Sputnik spark the space age.
Until 2 days ago, that sound had never been heard on this earth. Suddenly, it has become as much a part of 20th century life as the whir of your vacuum cleaner. It's a report from man's farthest frontier, the radio signal transmitted by the Soviet Sputnik.
Yet in 1961, Craven confidently dismissed the idea of communication satellites. He said, quote, "There is practically no chance that communication space satellites will be used to provide better telephone, telegraph, television, or radio service," end quote. At the time, it sounded reasonable. Rockets were still experimental, and space was mostly the stuff of pulp novels. Just a few years later, Telstar bounced the first live TV signal across the Atlantic.
Owned by AT&T, Telstar was also the first privately sponsored space launch and produced the first transatlantic television signals.
It turns out satellites were the future of communication after all. Number 9. High-speed rail is impossible. Now it's global. In 1823, science writer Dionysius Lardner had a grave warning for the world. Trains going faster than 30 miles per hour would asphyxiate passengers.
Some people thought that, the steam engines would scare the cows and they'd all drop dead, or that the sheep would kind of turn black, or that if you traveled at more than 30 miles an hour, your lungs would blow up.
King William I of Prussia reportedly scoffed, "No one will pay good money to get from Berlin to Potsdam in 1 hour when he can ride his horse there in 1 day for free." For some of history's most educated minds, relatively high-speed rail sounded like reckless science fiction.
In the end, though, they discovered that they weren't going to suffocate, and the sheer practicality of going from A to B quickly and safely trumped anything else.
But trains would soon shrink continents and fuel the Industrial Revolution. Transportation would never be the same again. Fast forward, and railroads reshaped the planet. Modern high-speed trains run faster than Lardner ever imagined. Today, the only choking involved with trains tends to involve bureaucratic red tape.
California Governor Gavin Newsom has touted high-speed rail, but in a March interview with Bill Maher, he blamed the slow-moving process in part on eminent domain, which requires the government to reach compensation agreements with private landowners to buy and repurpose their land for public use.
Number 8. Television won't last, said radio hosts and film producers. When TV arrived, some folks thought it was just a noisy lamp. In the 1940s, major radio industry experts dismissed it as a passing novelty. In 1946, 20th Century Fox head Darryl Zanuck is said to have predicted, quote, "People will soon get tired of staring at a plywood box every night." Spoiler, they didn't. Over the next few decades, television spread faster than a cold.
Television unified the world in a way that it never had before. For the first time, instead of just hearing of what was going on someplace else, you could now see live what was going on half a world away.
TV didn't kill radio or the movies, but it sure stole the spotlight. Television reshaped politics, culture, and entertainment in ways no one on the airwaves ever saw coming. The medium they wrote off as a fad is now something we binge, stream, and carry in our pockets.
It isn't long before television takes over as the most popular form of entertainment in America.
Number 7. The smartphone, a niche toy, until it changed everything. In 2007, Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer laughed off Apple's new iPhone. "There's no chance," he scoffed, "that the iPhone is going to get any significant market share."
The most expensive phone in the world, and it doesn't appeal to business customers because it doesn't have a keyboard, which makes it not a very good email machine.
His reasons? No keyboard, no business appeal, and a whopping $500 price tag. Some experts thought it was a flashy luxury, a toy for Apple fans with money to burn. Every argument aged like milk. Within a few years, smartphones didn't just go mainstream.
We think what we've done is to reinvent the phone. and completely change what your expectations are going to be for what you can carry in your pocket.
Alien observers could honestly say the smartphone conquered humanity. From American classrooms to remote villages in sub-Saharan Africa, these miniature computers are everywhere. For many, they've replaced cameras, maps, alarm clocks, landlines, even computers and TV. It's a pocket-sized device more powerful than the computer that put man on the moon.
Intelligent, powerful, innovative, from the inside out. This is iPhone 16 Pro.
Number 6. Nuclear power is pure fantasy, until it wasn't. In the late 1920s, Nobel laureate Robert Millikan dismissed atomic energy as a childish bugaboo.
You might think that it was always inevitable that we would be able to harness the energy inside the nucleus of atoms, but that was far from the case.
He told the Chemist Club in New York that expecting usable energy from the atom was a completely unscientific utopian dream. Fast forward to 1933, and Ernest Rutherford, who had just split the nucleus, laughed at the notion. He insisted that anyone expecting power from atoms, quote, is talking moonshine.
There was good reason for their pessimism. When Becquerel first observed radioactivity, he thought it was a phenomenon similar to phosphorescence.
Even Albert Einstein weighed in, stating in 1934 that there is not the slightest indication that nuclear energy will ever be obtainable. A decade later, America dropped nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The age of the atom forced all the naysayers to recant. Instead, they had to shift their criticisms and focus on the potential of a nuclear Armageddon.
First time in human history, we now were capable of our own destruction as a species.
Number 5. Surgeons laughed at antiseptic methods. Then infections killed thousands. In the mid-1800s, Joseph Lister suggested something wild. Maybe surgeons should stop waving pus-covered tools around like party favors.
He thought that sterilization, which means getting rid of germs, could save lives.
After reading about germ theory, Lister began sterilizing instruments and spraying carbolic acid in operating rooms. But many of his peers weren't impressed. Some mocked his ideas.
People would say there's absolutely no way that a tiny microscopic organism could possibly kill an organism as big as we are.
Others flat out refused to believe invisible germs could kill a patient. One critic sneered that Lister's methods turned surgery into a, quote, rainstorm. Yet hospitals that adopted antiseptics saw mortality drop dramatically. Today, we scrub, sterilize, glove up, and mask in every operating room on Earth. The guy they laughed at saved more lives than most of them could ever imagine.
Lister had a huge impact on reducing deaths in surgery. That's why he's known to this day as the father of modern surgery.
Number 4. Who would want a computer in their home? Misjudging the PC boom. In 1977, Ken Olsen ran one of the world's top tech companies.
There's a place for everything. The PCs will pay part of it, terminals another part of it, the workstations another part of it, medium computers and large ones other parts of it. There's a place for all of it.
Then he face-planted. There is no reason anyone would want a computer in their home, he declared. Back in the 40s, IBM's Thomas Watson reportedly said 5 computers would be enough for the whole planet. Spoiler, he was off by a few billion. They were 2 experts decades apart who couldn't have been more wrong if they tried.
You're looking at a small portable computer called the IBM 5100. It's helping a lot of different people do their work more productively.
By the 90s, computers were ubiquitous and the internet was bringing the world together. That's when Newsweek columnist Clifford Stoll dunked on it. The 90s, he said, were the pinnacle of hardware and software. It would never get any more portable or user-friendly. Today he laughs at his own howler of a bad prediction.
Is there a lesson to be learned? Yeah, probably.
Number 3. Lord Kelvin said flight was impossible, weeks before the Wright brothers flew. Lord Kelvin wasn't just a brilliant scientist and scholar, he was the scientist of his time, president of the British Royal Society.
During his lifetime, Thomson made an enormous contribution to the study and understanding of thermodynamics, electrodynamics, hydrodynamics, and geophysics.
A mathematical genius, the man literally helped define the absolute temperature scale. So when he declared in 1895 that, quote, heavier-than-air flying machines are impossible, people listened. The problem, of course, was that he'd been proven wrong before a decade had passed.
The 12-second flight proved that sustained, controlled, powered flight was, in fact, possible.
Just 8 years later, the Wright brothers lifted off at Kitty Hawk. Sadly for Lord Kelvin's legacy, that wasn't his only whiff. In 1896, he also dismissed X-rays as a hoax, right before they revolutionized medicine.
Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen discovered X-rays and changed the world. Just a short time later, our engineers developed the first X-ray tubes specifically designed for medical use.
As it turns out, even the hottest of hotshots can get scorched by technological revolutions. Number 2. The stock market has hit a permanent high right before the 1929 crash. Economist Irving Fisher was one of the most respected minds in America. He was a brilliant Yale professor. When he spoke, policymakers listened intently. His name and economic theory still show up in textbooks. So when he said that stock prices had reached a permanently high plateau, people believed him.
All across the country, not just New York City, but in cities, in small towns, all across America, people were in love with the stock market.
Sadly for Fisher, this prediction came in the fall of 1929, mere days before the utter collapse of the U.S. stock market. Black Tuesday wiped out billions in wealth. By the end of the crash, some stocks had lost over 90% of their value. Fisher himself lost both his own fortune and his credibility. He will go down in history as delivering one of the most spectacularly absurd predictions of all time.
The lessons from the crash of 1929 are that history repeats itself, that human folly and greed are much stronger forces in financial affairs than reason and restraint.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Online shopping will flop. Time magazine predicted online shopping back in 1966. They said it wouldn't catch on.
Long ago, in cyberspace, bold predictions were being made. By the end of the millennium, they said electronic commerce would be worth billions of pounds, and we'd all be doing our shopping via computers. But that was way back when the internet was young.
Power poses are real. Even one of the authors of the original power posing study thinks she was probably wrong.
Power poses are postures that we adopt when we feel really confident and powerful. So we expand, we take up a lot of space, just like other animals do.
There will never be a bigger plane than the 247. A Boeing engineer said in 1933 that the 10-seater 247 would be the largest plane ever.
The Boeing 247, its top speed of 200 miles per hour, will be 50 miles per hour faster than any other commercial airliner on Earth.
The machine gun will end all war. Hiram Maxim believed his deadly invention would make war impossible, not more terrible.
You are now gazing upon three of the most unusual inventions of the 90s. The flicker films, the first machine gun, and the square derby.
We can't learn anything further about astronomy. In 1888, astronomer Simon Newcomb said we'd learned all there was to know of the stars.
This was owned by Simon Newcomb, an astronomer who later became one of the most prominent scientists in the United States.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into Settings and switch on your notifications. Number 1. Smoking doesn't cause cancer. Doctors once said smoking was safe or even healthy. For decades, the smartest people in the room said cigarettes were fine.
Lucky's taste better, and for good reasons. First, Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. And then this fine, good-tasting tobacco is toasted to taste even better, cleaner, fresher, smoother.
In the 1930s and 40s, tobacco companies ran ads claiming doctors actually recommended their brands. Some even bragged that their cigarettes were physician-tested and less irritating to the throat. Medical journals ran cigarette ads. Health professionals endorsed them. One campaign had doctors choosing Camels, quote, by a wide margin.
More doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette.
Meanwhile, lung cancer rates were quickly exploding. By the time the truth caught up, it was too late for millions. Today, it's hard to imagine anyone not knowing the risks. But back then, your doctor would have lit one up right there in your hospital room.
Because they know what a pleasure it is to smoke a mild, good-tasting cigarette, they're particular about the brand they choose.
Who do you think was the wrongest genius in history? Let us know in the comments below.
We've got great Windows mobile devices in the market today. You can get a Motorola Q phone now for $99. It's a very capable machine.